This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Anuya Ghosh, on behalf of ISWMAW and other organizers, organizing partner, sponsors, welcome all delegates on this technical session TS9, which will discuss on recycling and solid waste management. It's an honor to cordially invite Professor Aniruddha Mukherjee and Professor Pradip K. Sikdar, India, to kindly chair the session jointly. Before going to the technical session, I will remind few points to all present here. All the participants are requested to mute microphone and close camera. Speakers may unmute only when requested. I request to adhere to the timeline to avoid delay. Presentation time for speakers 10 minutes and keynote speeches 15 minutes only. The question answer will be taken at the end of the session. Questions only may be written in the chat box to specific speakers. The chair individually will rate each presentation on the rating sheet provided to you. Chair kindly write the chair summary of this session with a few key outcomes and present at the end of this session. Filled in rating sheet and chair summary will be sent to us by email. I request all presenters of this session to kindly make their attendance in the chat box. Now I request Professor Aniruddha Mukherjee and Professor Pradip K. Sikdar to conduct this session, and I am giving to them, and with their permission, I am announcing the first presenter of this session. Should I start, sir? Should I start the presentation? I will call the first presenter then, with your permission, sir. Professor Aniruddha Mukherjee and Professor
Sure. You can start.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I am calling the first presentation of this session. Udita Mukherjee, please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish within 10 minutes. Miss Udita Mukherjee.
Yes, Udita Mukherjee present.
Okay, now you can present. Yes, you are audible to us.
Thank you.
You can share your screen now. I make you a presenter. Open
you are
your
already
PPT.
Presented.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, my respected teachers and my beloveds. I am Udita Mukherjee, the PhD Fellow of Jadavpur University. Now starting my presentation regarding this topic, recycling and management. My topic name is Adaptation of Recycling Policy for Solid Waste Management for Kolkata Metropolitan City. First of all, I tell one thing, what is solid waste? Actually, solid waste are those things which are discarded by us, which are discarded from our house, from our office, from our schools, from our colleges, and many other organizations. But the solid waste management is also important for nowadays. And through the manufacturing plant, through the machineries, through the industrial trains, through following the plan layout, and the investment opportunities and the feasibility study, we can say that solid waste management is very important for nowadays. As you all know, the Kolkata metropolitan city is the area of mine. So Kolkata, the increasing population of Kolkata is increasing day by day. As a consequences of that, 450 to 500 gram per capita solid waste are accumulated per day, and it is really a huge amount to maintain this huge amount of project. It is very it feels very uncomfortable for us. Here we can study a pie chart. The pie chart is showing the different types of solid waste in a circle, like metals, like glass, like plastics, like food scraps and paper. The significant scenario is that papers are released in huge amount, and papers are released from offices, from colleges, from universities, and any other things. So the first thing is that what is recycling, and recycling is very important because it saves the conventional sources of energy like coal and petroleum. These are the very important fossil fuel, and we are losing them day by day. So preserving the raw materials, it is not only reducing the air and water pollution, but it can reduce the need for landfill spaces. As we see in case of Dhapa, the excessive pressure of Dhapa suppressing the groundwater level. So through recycling, we can reduce the pressure of our virgin resources. Now we can say the different types of recycling process regarding the different materials. First of all, we can say about the plastic recycling. Plastic is non-biodegradable element, and different types of plastics are there, like high density plastic, low density plastic, etc. First of all, collection is very important. Sorting and washing the plastics, resizing the plastic, identification and separation is important, and after that, compounding and making a new plastic products for us. This is very important. And after that, we can say about the metal recycling. Metal are basically in three types: ferrous metal, non-ferrous metal, and the alloys metal. In case of ferrous metal, we can easily separate them by using strong magnets. But in case of non-ferrous metal, the three very costly techniques are there, like electrowinning and precipitation and metal sensors, but we have to achieve if we want to recycle the non-ferrous metals. In case of aluminium, alloys, we can ED current will easily solve the problem. After that, say about the wood. The wood waste is very harmful for our environment. So first of all, receipting, weighing, quality control, sorting, primary shredding, separating and granulating wood resource are very important. And further, the wood products are useful for our society. Next, we can say about the glass. The glass is such an element, the whole parts of glasses are not recyclable at all. First of all, some parts of the glass are recyclable, and removing, like it is recyclable through the paper plastic using the blown air, sorting and washing, crushing, melting, and molding the new products. But one thing is that the non-recyclable glasses are also there, like windows, mirror glass, fluorescent tubes, etc. So it's very important. And next part is we come to the point of cement waste. Cement is very important material for constructive and primary crushing, control saving, secondary crushing, rotating crusher, removing ferrous metals is very important. And after sieving and mixing, we can make our new construction and new infrastructure through cement. And after that, we can say about the papers. As you know, I have previously said that papers are in huge amounts. So the collection, sorting, transportation, shredding, pulping, and after pulping, it is deep into the flotational tank, and for de-inking and whitishing the paper very much. And after finishing and reusing the papers for further use. And last of all, rubbish. Rubbish is also an important thing. Rubbish may be biodegradable or non-biodegradable, or sometimes it make the pressure of our landfill site. So squashing into bales, transfer the landfill rubbish to the local incinerators, and after that producing electricity. But here one thing is very important: closed incineration is very important. Then we can say about the bricks. Bricks are also a constructive materials, but it's made of clay. So aggregate use of general field or highway land scrapping to produce new bricks and blocks are very important. And last of all, textiling. So through textiling, we can recycle our discarded garments and make our new garments and make new textile or fiber products. But the main thing is that the processes are not at all costly, all, but some processes are costly. But KMC have to adopted some process for solid waste management. At first, people's attention towards the solid waste is very important, but people are giving their negligence towards the solid waste. Maintaining proper disposal system is very important. Regular day-to-day collection is very important. Proper separation, recyclable elements are very important. Close squashing, as you know, this close incineration is very important. Otherwise, we can generate the air pollution in maximum amount. Thermal and chemical recycling is also important. High quality aggregate manufacturing plant will solve the concreted waste problem. But some limitations are also there. People's awareness is a big limitation. People are now showing their neglecting attitude towards the solid waste. They throw the solid waste hither and thither. Excessive negligence regarding waste management. Our local administration are not giving so much importance towards solid waste. It is a very big drawbacks for our local administration, and economic problem is such a big issue. So in conclusion, we can say that people of Kolkata will wants to make Kolkata a green Kolkata, a waste-free Kolkata. So recycle, reusing and resizing is very important. Thank you very much. Thank you all the guys who are present in the session, giving me this biggest opportunity, and thank you all.
Thank you for your nice presentation. Please mute the microphone and unshare the screen. Now I request Mr. Monjit Roy to please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish in 10 minutes. Mr. Monjit Roy, is this audible to you, Mr. Monjit Roy? Mr. Monjit Roy? Okay, I'm going to the next presentation. Later on, I will call Mr. Monjit Roy. Now I request Abhigyan Chakraborty to kindly present his PPT. Please unmute and open the PPT. Abhigyan Chakraborty.
Yes,
is this audible
present.
to you? Okay.
Yes,
please share your screen.
Ma'am, it's Monjit Roy.
Okay, sir, I already called Abhigyan. After Abhigyan Chakraborty, I will call Monjit Roy. Okay, sir. Abhigyan Chakraborty, please start your presentation and finish it within 10 minutes.
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Okay. It is visible to us. Please start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Abhigyan Chakraborty, MTech scholar from NIT Agartala, and I have been guided by Dr. Srimanta Ray, HOD of Chemical Department, National Institute of Technology, Agartala. And today I will be presenting on the topic Perspective on Glass Waste Management, and I'll be particularly focusing on the recycling of glass. So before I go into depth, I would like to say what glass is. Glass is an amorphous solid material made of sand, soda ash, and limestone. Typically brittle and optically transparent, generally transparent to light, is one of the safest packaging material due to its composition and properties. It can be used to store highly corrosive and hazardous substances. It is 100% recyclable, that is, it can be used and recycled innumerable amount of time without any loss in quality and purity. Types of glass waste. Glass has become a very important part in our day-to-day life, as a result of which we human beings create a lot of glass waste. Typical glass waste are of types soda glass, colored glass, Pyrex glass, lead crystal glass. plate glass, optical glass, annealed glass, tempered glass, laminated glasses. Benefits of recycling glass. What are the benefits of recycling glass? That is, what are the incentives we can get from recycling glass? The major benefits that we can get from recycling glass is energy saving. Instead of using virgin material, using crushed glass from bottles in manufacturing of new glass can save between 20 to 30% of the energy. The key point to this energy saving is that when manufacturing is carried out using recycled glass or cullet, the material's melting point is lower and subsequently the energy required is also less. Recycling one bottle can save energy equal to the energy consumed by a 110-watt bulb in 4 hours. Recycling 3 bottles can save sufficient energy to use a dishwasher service, and recycling 4 bottles can save energy to run a refrigerator for an entire day. Glass recycling. Glass is 100% recyclable. That is, glass can be recycled endlessly without any loss in quality or purity. Improvement of air and water quality. For every 10% of recycled glass in the manufacture of new glass, the emission of particle into the atmosphere is reduced by 8 to 10% in the case of sulfur oxides and 4% for nitrogen oxides. Saving of raw materials and conservation of the environment. For every 1 kg of glass bottle made from cullets, that is crushed glass, 1.2 kg of raw materials is saved. Saving in greenhouse gas emission. By using cullets, the carbon emissions are reduced from between 20 to 50%. For every recycled ton of glass, the emission of 200 kg of carbon dioxide is reduced. Saving of resources. By recycling, the glass manufacturing industry could be supplied with almost 34% of the resources that it needs. A ton of glass produced from raw materials creates 175 kilograms of mining waste. Using 50% of recycled glass cuts the mining waste by 75%. Recycling 1 ton of glass saves energy equivalent of 38 liters of oil. Less waste is sent to the landfill. For every 3,000 recycled water, that is 1 liter normal bottle, 1,000 kg of garbage is prevented from ending up in the landfill. Creates employment. Glass recycling process needs a lot of manpower. As a result, creates a lot of employment opportunities. Glass bottle recycling loop. This diagram shows the entire life cycle of a glass. The glass used by consumers are thrown into bottle banks from where they are carried by transportation vehicles, which take them to processing plants, which convert this glass bottle into cullets. These cullets are then again carried by transport vehicles to manufacturing plants, which convert these cullets to finished products, which are again taken by different companies to fill their material into it, and then the consumers use the material that in the glass. This way, the glass bottle can be recycled endlessly. Glass recycling process at glass recycling plant. Glass wastes are collected and taken to a depot. From there, glass wastes end up at glass recycling plant. At glass recycling plant, magnetic conveyors remove ferrous materials like leads and caps. At next, the picker station, the employees manually remove the rest of the contaminants. These contaminants are then removed from the glass batch, and the glass batch are then sent to spinning drum where they are dried. A baghouse dust collector removes dust from the air sucked out of the dryer. Then the dried glass are sent to a crusher feeder where the glass is crushed into smaller pieces. The crushed glass is called cullet as well as glass sand. The cullets are then sent to various manufacturing plants to recycle and convert into various products. However, there are some challenges in the glass recycling process. These include not all glass can be recycled. Even though glass items can be recycled, there are a few exceptions. For example, glass from light bulbs and window panes cannot be recycled because they contain ceramics and other impurities that would contaminate the entire process. Glass can be hazardous. Broken glass is a safety hazard to the workers. It can also damage machines at recycling facilities. These factors increase the processing cost. Broken glass is difficult to sort. Most manufacturers requires recyclable glass to be sorted by color in order to produce high quality glass bottles and jars. Glass is difficult to sort when broken, and if broken down too finely, glass may become too difficult to reprocess. When the recyclers find it too difficult or expensive to separate out the glass, they send the entire stream to the landfill. Over the past 2 decades, market for the glass has also changed. Over the past 2 decades, glass has also has been replaced by aluminum and plastic for the same product, leading to less demand. High cost associated with glass recycling. For glass to be properly recycled, it has to be separated by color. Glass containers that used to contain hazardous and corrosive substances are required to be treated separately before adding to the recyclable batch. These processes are quite labor intensive and rather complicated. Glass plates are quite heavy and incompressible. As a result, the transportation cost is high. Lack of proper equipment. Recycling in most countries is also done overseas due to lack of proper facilities locally, making it very costly. Future of glass waste management. Many new applications and manufacturing process involve glass in combination with other materials. There is a huge demand in the glass to be paired with other materials to transmit and view things like audio, video, and data information. For example, in case of optical fiber and different electronic devices, or they are also used in various medical fields. Road paints. Glass beads may be used in road paints for reflective quality at night time. These can reflect the light coming out of the headlight of the vehicles, and as a result of which, this can also help in accident prevention. Brick manufacturing. The principal raw material in brick manufacturing is clay supplemented with other materials like sand, stain, and minerals. However, recent research suggests that brick firing temperature can be reduced by up to 100 degrees Celsius when glass cullet is added at a rate of 10% by weight to clay mix. Road construction. Cullets can be added to concrete as an aggregate. It can be used to do construction, for example, curbside and sidewalk and median. Agriculture. Cullet can replace sand in vegetable gardens. It creates drainage just like sand does. Mixing cullet with topsoil and compost at a ratio of 20 to 25% can allow good bedding surface for plants to grow and thrive. Plastic timber. Glass cullet is used in formation of plastic timber because it makes the plastic maintenance free and super strong. Plastic timber made with glass cullet can be used to build decks, fences, raised gardens, and many other projects. And last but not the least, recycled glass can be used widely in case of agriculture, in case of architecture. For example, in case of kitchen countertops or facades, glass windows, staircases. So there is a very lucrative business that can be formed just in architecture by recycling glass. So I would like to finish by saying, don't throw glass away. It can be used in various other ways. Always reuse and recycle. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. Now I request Mr. Monjit Roy, please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen.
Yes,
Please
ma'am, is it
try to
audible?
finish. Yes, sir. Please try to finish in 10 minutes. Please share your screen.
Yes, is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir. Go to the first
Make
slide.
it full screen. Make it full screen.
Yes, yes, I have made it full screen, sir. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I am Monjit Roy from NIT Agartala, and my guide is Srimanta Ray. He is the HOD of NIT Agartala Chemical Department. My topic is critiques on solid waste management policies and advancement towards a solid waste goal. And I would also like to say a very good morning to the chairpersons present here and the organizers and my other fellow mates and presenters as well present here. So solid waste management, increasing population, booming economy, rapid urbanization, and the rise in community living standards have greatly accelerated the solid waste generation in the world, especially in developing countries. Solid waste has become one of the global environmental issues. Waste is the most symbol of inefficiency of any modern society and a representation of misallocated resources. Creation of any waste depletes natural resources, uses energy and water, places pressure on land, pollutes the environment, and finally creates an additional economic cost for managing the waste. Now, there is a solid waste management policy of the European Union. The European Union has a clear and defined objective in waste management. Its long-term goal is to become a recycling society, avoiding waste and using unavoidable waste as a resource wherever possible through a combination of member state politics, regulatory politics, and international market competitiveness. This has helped protect the environment and human health across the European community. Next, I'm coming to Denmark. Denmark's history of waste management goes back to as early as 1903, when incineration was introduced for waste treatment. However, it was not until the 1960s that environmental awareness became pervasive in the Danish general public. While MSW-IBA utilization is preferred over landfilling, the utilization must be done in an environmentally acceptable manner. Therefore, regulation of MSW-IBA utilization has been in place since 1983. The government provided impetus for an more widespread use of IBA by imposing a state tax on IBA disposal in 1987. Next, the Netherlands. The first piece of Dutch legislation that dealt explicitly with waste was the Waste Substances Act 1977, which covered discrete sectors of the environmental separately, such as surface, water, air, chemical waste, and noise as well. The first national-wide waste management policy or plan set out on the framework for the Netherlands' future waste management introduced the control of waste policies under a national perspective, banned direct disposal of mixed municipal waste to the landfills, and caused for the increase in waste utilization to 86% in the year 2012. The second National Waste Management Plan introduces initiative to further enhance the waste management policy. Next comes the United States. The Solid Waste Proposal Act, passed in 1965 by the US government, was designed to assist state and local governments with the technical and financial aspects of developing and managing waste disposal programs and to promote the development of guidelines for waste collection, transportation, recovery, and disposal. The Solid Waste Act was followed by the Resource Recovery Act of 1970, which shifted the emphasis of federal involvement from disposal to recycling, resource recovery, and conversion of waste to energy. Waste management was made more comprehensive with the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act of 1976. Next, coming to India, as you all can see that biomedical waste management and handling rules, the battery management and handling rules, the hazardous waste management and handling rules, which also includes the transboundary movement as accordance with the Basel Convention, the e-waste management and handling rules, and the plastic waste management and handling rules as followed in 2001. All these guidelines stipulated here also follow the degrees and conventions of the municipal solid waste management rules in the 2016 with the latest publication. Coming to China, China is in the midst of rapid urbanization, which corresponds to the huge generation of MSW. Three government-issued documents formed the basis for environmental protection practices in the early stage in China. Certain regulations on environmental protection and improvement, the Provisional Environmental Protection Law of the People's Republic of China, and the articles on environmental protection that were added to the 1982 National Constitution of the People's Republic of China. The first law to regulate the management of MSW was the Law on Prevention and Control of Environmental Pollution caused by solid waste of the People's Republic of China, effective from the year 1996. Now coming to Taiwan, prior to 1986, Taiwan's MSW were stored in public collection boxes and the waste personnel would collect and transport the waste to disposal sites. The public collection boxes were abolished in 1971. However, also before 1984, there was no proper treatment of MSW in Taiwan. Most of the MSW were disposed in facilities with no intentional design for environmental protection. The government later adopted a zero waste policy as well, instead in 2003 as a central tenet of a waste reduction strategy. In 1997, in order to stop dumping of garbage in public areas, which pose significant health risks, citizens were required to meet trash collectors and throw their household waste directly into the garbage truck. This keep trash off the ground policy is still in practice today in all parts of Taiwan except for specific remote areas. Now coming to zero waste. In recent years, one approach that has been suggested as a means of addressing these concerns is that of concepts of zero waste. Zero waste is a philosophy that encourages the redesign of resources life cycle so that all products are reused. No trash is sent to landfills and incinerators as well, neither dumped unnecessarily, not abiding the rules and regulations as justified by the decision makers. The process recommended is one similar to the way that resources are reused and remade by the nature itself. Now, zero waste resource flow. It can be known that the zero waste concept include the 3R rule as well as the 5R rule, reduce, reuse, recycling, which have been considered to be a base of environmental awareness and a way of promoting ecological balance through conscious behavior and choices. It is generally accepted that these pattern of behavior and consumer choices will lead to savings in materials and energy, which will benefit the environment as well. Industrial waste producers are continuously faced with the problem and disposing of their waste and must choose from a number of different disposal and treatment options. Increasingly, they are choosing to export the waste to other countries. Most of them are developing countries. It is very difficult to estimate how much hazardous waste is exported every year. The transboundary movement not only refers to the waste export, but also means environmental pollution transfer from the developed countries to the developing countries. Now, challenges in solid waste regarding e-waste. In recent years, the media and environmental group SHAVE regularly expose the smuggling and dumping of e-waste from the developed countries to the developing countries. The illegal trade is primarily driven by profit with a multi-million-dollar turnover. According to the US EPA, it costs 10 times more to recycle a CRT monitor in the United States than it would to illegally ship the monitor on the black market to Ghana and other low poverty countries due to labor cost, which is very low, and with the environmental cost as well. Challenges in solid waste regarding food waste. Food losses in industrialized countries are as high as in developing countries. But in developing countries, more than 40% of the food losses occur in post-harvest and processing levels, while in industrialized countries, more than 40% of the food losses occur at retail and consumer levels. Now, the packaging waste. Product packaging may seem very trivial. It actually has immense impact across the supply chain. Resource and wastage problems relating to packaging are significant, given the vast quantities of products that are overdressed for no other reasons than to please the eye. Excessive packaging necessitates more materials, more resources to manufacture, so entailing more costs as well. Overpackaged products incur a hefty toll on the environment is to be noted, as product packaging is usually discarded quickly, ending up in the landfills ultimately. Now, next are the zero-based practices in various cities, like the Taiwan Community Action Practice, the Hernani door-to-door collection in the province of Guipuzcoa in Spain. Now, the waste pickers from Pune is the last and the widely used practice in India for the past 20 years, and the cities of Adelaide and San Francisco is also practicing and moving towards a zero-waste goal. Now, the famous Coca-Cola company has also practiced zero waste. In the year 2012 and 11, respectively, Coca-Cola reported a turnover of over $180 million for reproducing and reusing and recycling their own packaging material. And the DuPont company is also practicing a very good innovation of carrying out the business in zero landfill process. Now, next is the pathway to solid waste. So, from the zero waste can represent an economically alternative to waste systems where new resources are continually required to replenish wasted raw materials. It can also represent an environmental alternative to waste, since waste represents a significant amount of pollution in the world. Zero waste concepts describe very nice and ideal image of environment and resource utilization. Now, zero waste principles. This figure shows how to evaluate if the organizations, especially for the business purpose companies, achieve the zero waste. These zero waste principles will be basis for evaluating the commitment of companies to achieve zero waste. The detail of the principles can be obtained as reported by the ZWIA as published in 2013 year. These principles will also be enable workers, investors, customers, suppliers, policymakers, and the public in general to better evaluate the resource efficiency of companies. Now, zero waste index. There are many ways to measure the waste management systems in a city. Decision makers and waste experts use various indicators such as the per capita generation rate, collection rate, and recycling rate to measure the performance of the waste management systems. In the last decade, the waste diversion rate has been used as an important indicator to measure the performance of a city as well. Now, strategies for the products from the extraction of raw materials to final disposal. There are many approaches, methods, tools, and principles that have been used to tackle different problems in the field of solid waste and resource efficiency. The key strategies identified for applying zero waste in a particular city or throughout the world in solid waste management will mainly include the 4 levels as shown in this slide. Now, coming to the conclusion, zero waste not only refers to the mentioned environmental and technological aspect, but also includes socioeconomic and political aspects as well, and many stakeholders are also involved in this process. All these aspects are interrelated and dynamic in nature. Therefore, waste management systems create a complex cluster for different aspects, and the function of this complex cluster may also be dynamic and interdependent among each other. Global climate change and its various effects on human life drive current society toward a more sustainable one. Depletion of infinite global resources forces us to consider resource and product stewardship. Therefore, zero waste management is a holistic view of preventing and managing waste and resources from the sustainable perspective. The strategies developed for recycling and managing waste should be affordable in the socio-economic context, regulatory or manageable in the socio-political context as well. The established zero waste should be a source on sound study which can be easily understood by engaged people, save money from the economic aspect, promote to waste
Your
prevention
time is
through the
over.
redesign,
Please wrap up.
reuse and repair process, improve the waste recovery using the recycling and composting, and finally I would say it would also create jobs to return logistics and reprocessing activities. So thank you. This was all from my part.
Thank you for your nice presentation. Before going to the next presentation, I will like to mention all the presenters. Please confirm their name in the chat box, and if any question is there for the other presenter, please raise the question in the chat box only. Now I request to call Kripalini Kulumina for this next presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish in 10 minutes. Kripalini Kulumina, is this audible to you?
Yeah, ma'am. It's audible now.
Okay. Please share your screen.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible to us. Make it a full screen mode.
Okay, fine.
Or else it is visible, go ahead. You can start now.
Just a minute. Shortly, just a minute, Anna. Is my screen visible now?
Yes. You can start.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, all of you. Good morning, the chairpersons, the organizers, and other speakers over here. I'm Kulumina Dash from KIT Deemed University Institute of Eminence from Bhubaneswar, and I'm going to present the topic today, the prevalence of anemia among the rural women having poor sanitation practice, and it is a cross-sectional study, the findings from a cross-sectional study in Odisha, India. So anemia is a worldwide public health issues in both developing and developed countries and have a greater impact on economic and social development. It has been long been recognized that anemia is something is troubling here, Anna. Just a minute. I'm finding some difficulties and all like that being sharing the screen. Just a minute.
Press the arrow button.
Yeah, it has been recognized. Yeah. It has been recognized that anemia is a major public health problem, especially among the poor segments of the population in developing countries such as India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, according to WHO. And as it is a most common problem among the women, which contributes maternal mortality, perinatal mortality in a larger scale. The prevalence of anemia among the women has been a major public health concern globally, including India, which presents challenges to our healthcare system and service delivery. If you see the prevalence and impact, the anemia affects around 1.62 billion people globally, and among that, 56 million are pregnant women and across the globe. Currently, 52% of Indian women of the reproductive age are anemic, according to the WHO. Anemia is widespread in India, and 58.6% of children, 53.2% of non-pregnant women, and 50.4% pregnant women are found to be anemic in 2016, as per the National Family Health Survey report. Globally, 1.1 billion people still practices open defecations, of which 638 million are in India. And poor sanitation alongside unsafe drinking water and hygiene are responsible for a considerable proportion of the global burden of disease, according to the Party et al. In 2015. If you will see to the rational part, open defecations and the poor hygiene practices prevalent in India. So relationship between the sanitation practices and anemia have not been well characterized in Odisha and India. So we therefore designed a population-based study to estimate the prevalence of anemia and its associations with sanitation practices. So the objectives of my study to know the prevalence of anemia among the women in the reproductive age group and to find out its association with the sanitation practices. Methodology, the study design is a population-based cross-sectional study setting Balianta block of Khordha district, Orissa. The study participants were the women of the 15 to 49 years of reproductive age groups from the two villages of the Balianta block. An open access sampling strategy, if you'll see, an open access software OpenAP tool as we used to calculate the sample size. The Ninder sample size was 498, but assuming a non-response rate of 10%, the final sample size was planned to 550. The woman was selected by a simple random sampling. If the randomly selected person was not available, did not give consent to participate voluntarily, the next person was included. Informed consent was obtained from each study participant at the time of data collection. Those are willing to take part in the study. We read an assent form in front of their parents who are below 18 years and obtained oral consent from them. Study variables, my outcome measure is anemia. According to the WHO, the anemia is defined as hemoglobin level is below or less than 11 gram deciliter. In this study, the primary outcome of interest was divided into two categories, that is anemic and non-anemic. Maternal hemoglobin at the recruitment was collected by the captivating fingerprint blood samples using a portable hemoglobin analyzer, HemoQ HB301. As you can see in the slides, that HemoQ HB301, and how we have, when we had been to the village, how we have collected the blood samples and we have measured the hemoglobin over there from the participants. My exposure measures sanitation practices, the practices to latrine or open field for defecation, type of latrine, water sources available or not, sociodemographic, age, social caste, religion, income, occupation, and educations. Data management and analysis after ethical consideration. The data was collected by a female data collector. Data was kept confidentially. The data was analyzed with the help of statistical software, Stata version 11. And my analytical approach, I have to determine the prevalence of anemia among women. I have descriptive statistics was used and logistic regression was used to establish the association between the sanitation practice and anemia. Results, if you see the basic socio-demographic characteristics of study participants were found to be diverse, and we have a total of 550 women were interviewed. From the total study participants, the mean age of women, those who are practicing open defecation, is 29.83 with SD 10.02, and those who are the mean age of the women, those who are using latrine for defecation, is 29.83 with SD 8.93. If you will see to the BMI, we have that those who are practicing open field defecations, 15.74 persons were having were underweight, and 7.63% those who are using latrine were underweight. But if you see the education part, those who are practicing open field defecations, 27.5 persons were having no educations, but those who are using the latrine, 11.86% were also having no education. But here only 7.18 persons were having have gone to college, or they have done higher studies, and all those who are practicing open field defecation, and 16.95 persons women, those who are using the latrine, have gone for a high study. If you see the socioeconomic status and wealth index, only one participant, those who is practicing open field defecation, belongs to higher socioeconomic class, but 96.30% belongs to low socioeconomic status. and 81.36% of the women participants, those who are using latrine, belongs to low socioeconomic status. Occupations, the mostly 70.23% of the women, those who are practicing open field defecations, were housewife, and 82.20% of the women, those who are using the latrine, were housewife. The students were, you can see here, only 2.55% of the women, those who are practicing open field defecations, were doing any job, and 4.2% of those who are using the latrine were doing a job. Mostly we have seen over here the 61.8%, 81% of the women, those who are practicing open field defecation, belongs to SC, and also those who are using latrine, and the women participants were 30.51%. Mostly here 94.4% women participants were those who are practicing open field defecations were Hindu, and 98.31% of those who are using latrine were Hindu. But here you can see in the religion and all, there is no Christians and among those who are using the latrine. If you see, the prevalence of the anemia among the women was found to be 45.64% in the study area. And sanitation behavior of the study participants, 78.55% were going for open field defecation, and 21.45% were using the latrine. And if you're going to see the types of latrine, ventilated improved drip latrine 1.56%, and 10.94% were using septic tank and simple pit latrine, and 29.71% were using the water from the others inside the latrine, and 70.29% were brought from the outside. If you see the associations part, it is very important over here. What we have found that in associations, only those who participate, those who are going for the open field defecations, we found the significant associations with the anemia among those who are practicing open field defecation. Then odds of the developing anemia was 2.18 times higher among the women going for open field defecation than using the latrine. But we didn't find any significant associations with anemia using the latrine type of water availability at latrine. So,
ma'am, the time is finished.
I'm just concluding now. So the conclusion is that it is the most common problem among the women in the study area, and study has highlighted the association between anemia and open defecation, health promotion and behavioral changes that impact on defecation practice, which can decrease the risk of anemia, may be targeted. Therefore, to reduce the burden of this problem, the measures need to be implemented at the community level, which can be prevent and treat anemia among the women. So large-scale study could be done to understand the causal association in a larger population, because this is a cross-sectional study. We cannot establish any causal relationship with the sanitation practice and anemia. So large-scale study need to be conducted to understand the causal association. In future, the public health intervention can be needed to reduce the burden of anemia among women living in the rural area where there is a limited access to adequate sanitation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice presentation. Now I request AmritPritam Rout to make his presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish in 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
1 minute.
Make it full screen mode if possible. Else you go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
You can start now. It is visible to us.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning, all of you, respected sir, madam, and all the dignitaries present over here, and all the participants. I am AmritPritam Rout, pursuing master degree in plastic engineering from Central Institute of Plastic Engineering and Technology from Lucknow. Today, my topic of work is effect of different quantity and types of polymer films on kitchen waste. So, coming to the first slide. First, we know what is municipal solid waste. As we all know that it is a waste which is present in a area, and the combination of all the household waste as well as the commercial waste, which are mainly collected by the municipality in a given area. In the municipal solid waste, kitchen waste is the major portion, which takes place about 70 to 80% in the municipal solid waste. So it can be the sources for the municipal solid waste can be kitchen waste, biomedical, agricultural, institutional, or commercial. Next, it is the graph that shows the waste generated in India per year. We can see from the graph that the waste generation in India is increased rapid manner, which is mainly due to the high population growth, and due to the dump of waste also require the land is growing yearly and increasingly. Then in the present days, there is high consumption of polyethylene bags, and now it has been seen that it is increasing day by day, as these polyethylene bags, which are polyolefin derived, basically high resistant to microbial degradation. These are which are remain in the nature and don't go under biodegradation. Because of this, the soil's water penetration capacity is reduced, by which soil fertility is also reduced. Then, as in the previous slide, I have told about the term biodegradation. So let's see what is biodegradation. We all know that it is a process by which organic matter is decomposed with the help of microbial action. If it occurs in the presence of oxygen, it is known as aerobic. When it is occurs in the absence of oxygen, it is known as anaerobic. Next, when we are discussing about decomposition or degradation in broad basis, then there will be the case of landfill and the settlement of garbage in landfill. So basically, landfill is one of the most economic and feasible means of municipal solid waste disposal. Settlement in landfill is a key feature in design and making of landfill So next, this is the landfill settlement. So what is the importance of settlement monitoring? So if we go through the settlement mechanism, it basically takes place in three stages, which are basically instantaneous settlement, which is the first stage. That is the immediate compression that occurs direct response to self weight or external load applied to the waste. After the instantaneous stage, this primary settlement is the next stage, which is the compression due to dissipation of pore water and gas from void spaces, which occurs in a short period of time. The last stage is the secondary settlement, which is caused by long-term slippages and a delayed compression of some waste constituents. As a result of landfill settlement, there is a production of a leachate, which is basically a liquid produced from waste decomposition and infiltration of rainwater in landfill. It is basically high strength wastewater that contaminates the groundwater. Then coming to the present study, these are the materials required for the preparation of fill, and these are the like and these are the this is the main requirement material for the bioreactor. And as we go through the degradation study, and here I have taken the vegetable waste as kitchen waste. Then here we carry the present study work by taking basically three polymer films, slightly starch film, LDPE film, and LDPE blended starch film, when we took different weight percentage of films to carry the work. So a magnetic stirrer is the main instrument that I can say which is required to prepare the starch film, whereas the melt blender and a compression molding machine is required to prepare the LDPE and LDPE blended starch film. So here is the starch. So here is the starch preparation of starch film process, where we have taken potato starch or corn starch along with distilled water and put 0.1 normality of HCl into the beaker. Then by the use of magnetic stirrer with RPM of 700 and for a time period of 30 minutes, it is start. Then after it is getting viscous, to maintain the pH of the solution mixture, we have added NaOH at an RPM of 150 and a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. Then after the stirring process is over, it is poured in a petri dish and it goes for solvent casting. Then these are some prepared films which include some failure of films, but some good films are also come. Then this is the LDP preparation process for LDP film, where LDP granules are taken and dry, and for to remove the moisture, it is kept inside a dryer at a time of 24 hours at 50 degrees Celsius. Then by the action of melt blending and compression press, LDP films are prepared. Then LDP as LDP films are prepared, like in that manner also LDP blended starch film is prepared. Here only the difference is that the starch film is mixed with the LDP material in the melt blender. Then here is the preparation. It is the pictorial diagram of bioreactor, which I can show over here. It is the I have taken an inverted toffee container, which is basically a HDP material. Then these are the process steps of process by which I have made the bioreactor, and here is the pipe which was inserted to collect the leachate, and this is the final bioreactor. Then coming to the experimental procedure, first the bioreactor we have designed was taken. Then if there would be any leakage of water in the bioreactor or not, it should be checked. After that, the weight of empty bioreactor was measured. Then about 0.5 kg of fresh vegetable waste or peel was put into the each bioreactor. Then measuring the weight of bioreactor filled with vegetable waste, different weight percentage of three types of film that we have made were added to the different bioreactors. Then waste level and bed settlement height was measured. After a specified time, here I have taken it for 40 days. The wastewater which is leachate was collected from each bioreactor, and the volume of leachate was measured before and after centrifugation. The centrifugation process is basically due to remove the waste residue present in leachate. Then the COD, pH COD, that means chemical oxygen demand, pH, conductivity and salinity value of leachate was measured, and data obtained from the value were compared. Here it is my setup process. Then it is the slide that to know about the strength of polymer films we have done for the mechanical testing, and then these are the data set for it. Then it is the I have checked the mechanical properties of film. Similarly, this is the optical properties, and this is the morphological property, which is basically done by scanning electron microscopy method. This is the table which shows the settlement height of different weight percentage of films in bioreactor in different days. And this is the graph. That is, if we plot a graph between bed settlement height of kitchen waste versus time in terms of days, we obtain the graph like this. Then this is the result of a volume of leachate that we have obtained. Then coming to the these are the values that we have obtained, like COD, pH, conductivity and salinity of leachate. Then this is from the graph, it is clearly shown that at COD value obtains minimum at 8 weight percentage, whereas maximum at 12 weight percentage. If we compare both the films with 8 weight percentage LDP film, then it has been least COD value. That means maximum degradation will result the leachate with minimum COD value, as degradation study is taking place only for 40 days. Hence, in LDP film case, COD value that we have obtained have the values of kitchen waste degradation. This is the graphical representation of a pH to know about whether the leachate solution is acidic or basic. Then, when we discuss about conductivity of leachate, it is clearly observed that the value is maximum in bioreactors having starch film, and also there is increase in conductivity with increase in weight percentage of film. Then coming to the salinity value of leachate is minimum, which comes from LDP film bioreactors, but due to only like same 40 days of degradation study, the salinity value comes
Your
is only
time is finished now. Please wrap
yes
up.
sir, yes sir, I am concluding. In the present study that I have done, much stress has been given on the extent of biodegradation in presence of plastic. That is, I have taken here polymer films and a resulting bed settlement during short span of time. The aim of this work is to realize the impact of plastics on municipal solid waste and to give an overview of the incorporation of the type of plastic which has to be eliminated in packaging industry. Then coming to the future scope, gas from this present work we can obtain much scope of experiment study future like gas generation, typical analysis of hydrocarbon present in degradation. That's all about my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your nice presentation. Please mute the microphone and unshare the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I request Jeffrey Z. Darun to please make the presentation. Please unmute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish in 10 minutes.
So, good day, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just so let me so pardon me. Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, that too.
So once again, so is my screen presenting now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for good day, everyone, again. So I am Jeffrey Z. Dun from St. Louis University. So for today, what I'm going to present is our study, Road Towards Sustainable Urban Biowaste Management. So this is a review of diversion practices here in Baguio City. So my presentation will be tackling four, excuse me. Okay, there seems to be a problem here. Okay, so it's lagging. So anyway, my presentation will be four parts. It will be on the introduction, study area, results and discussion, and conclusion and recommendation. Now to start off with my presentation, I'm going to speak about our hill stations in Asia, particularly here in Baguio City and there in India, which is Shimla. Way back in when I was in college, I was able to stumble upon the movie Three Idiots. So from there, I was able to see the city of Shimla. What I have noticed there is the similarities of Baguio City and Shimla. So if you can notice here in the next picture, the landscape is actually uncanny. So for this one, I have placed in my mind that there must be some connections. So if you could notice based on the picture that I have presented to you, these are not my own pictures. I have just taken this from the internet, but if you could notice, the connections are actually seamless at this point there. With that one, what I would like to share is that with the place that I have admired since I was young, I have admired the culture and tradition. So it is my best intention to be of great help to this particular community. So I believe that I am at the position to help in our basic needs in our society. So to start off, economic growth greatly affects the urbanization rate of a city. So with that one, as we have our increase of living standards, we're actually generating wastes. So in most common parts or in many parts of the Asia, Europe, and Middle East, the waste generation actually surpasses the rate of urbanization. With that said, solid waste generation was also found to have a strong correlation with GHG emissions, greenhouse gas, wastewater pollution, and energy consumption. So the lack of treatment facilities for solid waste solution is associated with the following: shortage of expertise, financial resources, and administrative enforcement of environmental regulations. Moreover, it is further amplified by insufficient public awareness, participation, and environmental ethics that results to uncontrolled solid waste disposal in improper places. So again, why Baguio City? So basically for Baguio City, again, as I've said a while ago, I have admired this city when starting when I was young. So if you could notice, it is mostly green. However, due to again environmental setbacks, we're actually worried that we might not be able to preserve this one if we do not make any actions. So with that one, Baguio City has faced several environmental setbacks. Um, this one, based on the waste analysis and characterization study for Baguio City, it has been revealed that there is 0.4193 kilograms per day only coming from the residential sources. So furthermore, the biodegradables, which is termed as biowaste in our study, have 41.67% of the total waste generated, the highest among the waste categories. So this was presented yesterday with my colleague Marcelino Lunag. If you could notice again, basing it on the chart, it is actually the biodegradables that is highest. So I think that is also true with other places in the world. So for this one, it is our responsibility to improve our methods for successful reduction of solid waste for many cities. But again, one of our troubles here in Baguio City is that the free space is actually not enough. So based on urbanization rate and the coming in of many residences here, it is actually, or the free spaces is actually getting smaller by the year. So with the aforementioned reasons, the call for focusing on the solid waste management is very relevant at the current time. With the realization that biowaste can be further processed into valuable products, this research aims to highlight the current biowaste management and practices here in Baguio City, and also give appropriate recommendations to further augment the reduction of capacity of waste. So just a quick background, Baguio City is located within the Cordillera Mountain Ranges. Because of its unique profile, Baguio City has become center for trade, education, tourism, and so on. So it is considered as the only American hill station here in the Philippines, originally developed to be a place for recreation. And Baguio City was named one of the city for our creative city for the from the UNESCO way back in 2017. So as shown here, we have the geographical location of Baguio City. It is located in Luzon, here in the Philippines, the northern part of the Philippines. So for this one, what I would like to talk about is the classification or the categorization of our waste here in the Philippines. So we have residuals, recyclables, biodegradables, and special waste. So our focus for this particular study is only on the biodegradables because it is, again, one of the highest. So composting was seen to be the best or one of the best ways to solve this particular problem. So based on this one, the treatment methods that is present here in Baguio City are the following: the ERS, or the Environmental Recycling System, vermicomposting, passive pile composting, engineered sanitary landfill, food waste as animal feed, and open or unregulated burning. So for the environmental recycling system, this was developed in Japan with the usage of microbes to further accelerate the decomposition process of organic matter. So what we can see here, this is the what we call the Shimasu microbes. So for the Shimasu microbes, this was developed way back in Japan, and furthermore, it uses several machines to operate. So if you could see here, it has the evaporation part, wherein on the bottom part, we have the microorganisms and the raw materials to be processed. And aside from that one, we can actually use the energy from the based on the activity of the microorganisms. So this is the actual picture of our ERS here in Baguio City. So here is the chute, and based on this one, we have here the possible or the probable biodegradables to be processed um, per day. So next we have the vermicomposting. The Good Shepherd Convent here in Baguio City is one of the pioneers in vermicomposting. So for vermicomposting, they actually use what we call the African night crawler. Okay? They use that one for their also for their products. Here we have one of the pioneers of passive pile composting. So he was an advocate of the environment for many years now, and up until to this day. So Mr. Fred Fangonon has established himself as a passive pile expert. So here, what he does is that he piles or he collects the waste uh, in a fenced method. So next we have the engineered sanitary landfill. Unfortunately, here in Baguio City, we don't have any landfill now. What we had way back in 2011 was the dump site, which unfortunately killed several residences because of the trash slide. We have the food waste as animal feed. So that is for our pets or for the animals in our environment. And of course, we have our open and unregulated burning, which is actually prohibited. Of course, we all know the implications of the greenhouse gases. Moreover, for the present biowaste management methods, we also have the proposed biowaste management methods. So we have the decentralized composting, namely the rotary and bin composting, and we have the waste to energy method. So for the rotary in vessel composting, it is actually um, starting right now. As you can see here, this is a miniature version for that one. We also have the bin composting, which is currently being studied to be implemented, and the waste to energy system. So for the waste to energy, unfortunately for now, since we had the COVID-19 pandemic, the study was are still on hold. But there are several companies that are actually coming into play into the picture of putting up waste to energy here in Baguio City and its nearby residences. So here are the data from our study. So what we have done, we have divided the methods into the present and to the proposed. So based on
Sir,
our
please wrap
study,
up. Please wrap up. Your time is finished now.
okay, 1 minute. So thank you. So for the total potential of the proposed waste can actually have a what do you call this? A total of 106,000 kilogram per day, or that is 61,000 per day. This is to further be divided into these several parts here. So if you could notice, we have the ERS, the highest, and we also have the small scale composting. So with that one, um, we also have to take into consideration environmental sustainability to avoid excess pollution in our society. So in conclusion, the solid waste management towards sustainable development actually correlates to the SDG 12 of our UN Sustainable Development Goals. And when we try to solve our solid waste problem, all the waste problems from our water and our air can be resolved as well. So with that one, I would like to leave you with this picture. So this will be our road to sustainable development and waste management. So thank you for listening and have a nice day.
Thank you for your nice presentation. Please
Thank you.
mute and unshare your screen. Since we didn't get any confirmation for our next presenters, still I am announcing the name of the presenters for next presentation. If anyone is there, please let us know. Shrutipta Sarkar is Bajracharji from Nepal, S. Bajracharji, Shrutipta Sarkar, Tushar Kanti Roy, Mr. David O. Olukani. Okay, I'm moving to the question answer session. There is no question arise in the chat box from the audience. So I request the chair, if they have any question to our presenter, please go ahead. Pradip sir and Aniruddha sir, if you are having any question to our presenters, please ask them.
Yes. No, I have some questions. The first one to the last presenter. Now, can you tell me and I'll give us an idea about the people's perception to solid waste management in Baguio City? You know the present solid waste management that you have. What is the people's perception? Are they satisfied? Are they dissatisfied?
Actually, sir, to be honest, they are dissatisfied with the current situation here in Baguio City. So what we have been pushing or what we have been doing is to actually present to the city the methods, the last two methods that was presented to you, aside from the waste to energy, was presented to Department of Science and Technology and was presented to the city of Baguio. Unfortunately, we cannot move now because of the current pandemic, but we are actually very, we have the strong intention to do our best effort to reduce and to eliminate further degradation of our environment, sir.
Okay. Do you have any rules, to manage this solid waste management in your country? Say for example, in India we have the solid waste management rules. Now, do you have such rules in your country?
Yes, sir. Actually, we have very strict rules. But again, with the participation, if we don't have any strong will from the participating body or from the public, actually one of the problem with our society now is the public awareness. So I think we should be doing strongly with our public awareness, meaning we should first we should first involve the participants, which is the public. Then we could further improve our system.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, if I go to the first presenter, Udita, I think Udita, could you give me an idea of any business strategy of solid waste management in Kolkata? Because if you really have a business model, then you're going to have more startups coming up to manage the solid waste management of our city. So, do you have any idea about any different strategy which has developed in our city so that it's going to attract young people to come up with startups?
Thank you very much, sir, to asking me this question. But first of all, I want to say, sir, to recycle any particles in our city, first of all, we have to remember that we have to separate it properly and segregate it properly. People throw their waste from household or offices. They can throw it hither and thither. They cannot manage them and cannot properly discard them. This is a very big problem to us. But in Eastern India, Hulade K is such an institute, is making and aggregating the e-waste and want to big planning to manage solid waste properly. But according to me, uh, I want to say something that if people are throw their waste in a proper manner, or the local administration have some follow some rules like the day-to-day collections or segregation biodegradable or non-biodegradable element properly, this will be very helpful for us. Some waste like glass, like plastics, like woods, like rubbish is just thrown in accumulatedly. We can segregate them properly. So if we put into our compactor, it minimize, but we can recycle from them. So if you want to reuse and recycle them, proper disposal system and proper segregation system is very important to me, sir.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Now, how to move on from this, if you look at Kolkata, and I think you have looked into the people's perception, and do you feel that the citizens are ready, are willing to pay for managing the solid waste that they are generating? What is your idea about the willingness to pay? Are the citizens or are we ready to pay?
Sir,
Yes, please continue,
I think you are absolutely right in that point. If some rupees are willing to pay is a very important procedure for our city only. But when we pay something for solid waste management, we have some consciousness about them. We have make ourselves more manageable, and this is a very good option for our city also, sir. You are absolutely right.
So are the people ready to pay? What do you think? Are the people ready to pay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are the students of environment. We are always ready to pay something for management the solid waste, and we have to understand our
No,
local
that's
people.
fine. No, that's fine. Yeah, but for the local people, those who are not students of environment.
Yes, sir. They don't know about the environment, but if we make understand them that if she or he will pay for solid waste management, his or her locality will be pandemic free, will be free of disease, then I think she or he will be definitely pay for that.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, sir?
One more question I would like to ask to today's who talked about glass waste management. I think Monoji or who talked about glass waste, that was Abhigyan. Abhigyan, are
Yes,
you
sir.
there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Could you give us an idea about what is the health impact of the workers in glass cycling process? Health impact of the workers who are working in, yes?
I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat again?
Yeah, the health impact of workers. Do you have any negative health impact on workers who are working in this, glass recycling process?
Yes, sir. Impact with the water that gets percolated in the glass, right, sir?
I couldn't follow. You know, my question was, what was the health? Are there any health impact on the workers who are working in this glass recycling, processes?
Yes, sir. Definitely, there are some health problems. Like in case of glass recycling, when the glasses are dried and are fed to crusher feeder, large amount of fumes are generated, which can be glass particles of glass or some other fumes such as oxides of sulfur and nitrogen. Those can be hazardous to the workers working there. So many of the recycling plants use uh, uh, bag house dust remover, which are placed over the spinning drums so that they can extract the majority amount of the fumes that are coming out of the recycling process. But still, some of the problems remain, some of the gases remain in the process, as a result of which they can harm the workers working there. Yes, there are some problems.
Okay. Okay.
Particularly
respiratory respiratory problem. Okay. 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 Thank you, Ananya. I have finished.
Okay, sir. Sir, Aniruddha, sir, you are having any question?
Yeah. For Udita, I have a question because she has mentioned about the solid waste management of Kolkata. I want to specifically ask one question. What about the construction and demolition waste? What should be the policy to manage this kind of waste? Because these wastes are generating a huge amount in Kolkata. This is number one. And number two is these construction related materials, they are generating huge amount of particulate matter, particularly PM2.5. So how can we manage this?
Sir, actually, sir, am I audible to you, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, actually, different types of waste are there. We are generating and accumulating day by day. But proper segregation is one and only solution for that, sir. If we cannot separate the degradable or biodegradable elements, like I can give an example of such plastics, sir. Plastics is low density plastic, high density plastic. Different types of plastics are there. So the procedure of collections, the procedure of sorting.
I have asked about the demolition and the construction waste.
So demolition waste, first of all, closed incineration will be a part of the policy, because through closed incineration we can generate the electricity or make the biogas. Also, if the waste are biodegradable, are non-biodegradable, in case we can use the compactor for minimizing the waste. But if the waste is metallic waste. Okay, sir.
Okay. For Abhigyan, I have a question. Abhigyan, just one question. You have mentioned about glasses, recycling of the glasses. Yes, but I have a question that is it cost effective? Because you have mentioned that there is a high cost associated with recycling. So yes, how can we manage this particular problem?
Actually, that is the big problem associated with glass recycling. First of all, glass are very costly. As a result, more manufacturers are sorting to other waste, other products to produce their materials. As a result, recycling of glass is not in demand. And plus, sir, it is very expensive to transport. So, it is a problem, but I think it can be solved if we place a cost on the glass bottle itself. Like during the manufacturing of the product, we place a cost on the glass bottle, and when the people give back the glass bottle, the amount that was taken for the glass bottle is credited back to their account. This way, it can be made into cost effective.
Okay. For Monojit, I have a question. Can you hear me, Monojit? Okay. As an alternative model, you have mentioned about the zero landfill concept. Can it be applicable in a country like India? Monjit, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt, sir.
Facing
Monojit has confirmed he has some internet issues, so he
Okay,
is
okay.
not
Fine,
getting, sir. I think.
fine. Then Kripalini. Kripalini,
sir,
can you hear me?
her name is Kulumina Dash.
Okay, Kulumina Dash. Okay, fine. Can you hear me?
Sir,
Oh, sure. Okay. You have spoken about a very important problem in India. You have seen that anemic individuals, anemic women are there in rural India, and you have mentioned about the poor hygiene. But how? And you are correlating between the open defecation with that of the incidence of anemia. But why? Why are you relating these two, open defecation system with that of the anemic individual, anemic rural women in India? Why? Why these two
she
are
is
connected?
not here. Actually, she is not here.
Okay.
Can anyone answer this question? Can anyone from the presenter answer this question?
Okay. Then the fifth speaker.
Monojit is there. Monojit is joined. Monojit
Yes,
Roy is joined.
Monojit. But he is having some connectivity problem. You ask his question.
Monojit is here, Prof.
Yes, he is here.
Monojit mentioned about the alternative model of zero landfill concept. Is it applicable for a country like India? Can it be applicable for a country like India?
I think he is having some problem.
He has lost the connectivity, right?
Yes.
Like, okay. Then AmritPritam Rout.
Yes, sir.
You have mentioned about the gas generation from waste. That is
Yes,
one of the
sir.
possibilities.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
explain this? Can you explain this? How gas can be generated from this waste?
Sir, I think there should be much scope of work in gas generation. Sir, from in the cow dung process, that is the gobar gas plant, the gas like methane is generated and utilized in varieties of commercial waste like this. I think, sir, this can be the like gobar gas plant mechanism. It can gas generation can be possible.
Okay.
Yes,
now Jeffrey Duran, Dr. Duran is here from Philippines.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Welcome. So you have mentioned about the bio-waste management in Baguio City, and you have made an analogy with that of our city, that is Shimla. And you have mentioned about the great film Three Idiots. Fine. Thank you very much. Now, my question is that there is a huge potential for bio-waste throughout the Southeast Asian countries, and particularly the South Asian countries. So how, waste, how, how energy can be generated from this, bio-waste? Can energy be generated from this bio-waste? What is your idea about that?
Yes, sir. Actually, energy can be extracted from the biowaste based on anaerobic digestion. However, here in Baguio City, incineration, which is a part of the waste to energy potential or waste to energy plant, is actually prohibited here in the country, in the whole country. Incineration is prohibited. So basically,
Connectivity problem.
On that one, still, many companies are eyeing for waste to energy, but or the particular law that prohibits them to continue with the project of waste to energy. Actually, there have been several companies proposing to Baguio City with regards to waste to energy, including with the or alongside with the other towns. Yes, nearby
Okay.
Baguio City.
And okay. And what kind of environmental regulations are there, in your country with regards to the management of, solid wastes?
If I'm not mistaken, sir, the one prohibiting factor is of the Philippines. So here in the Philippines, we have what we call the Clean Air Act. It strictly prohibits the of wastes. So from there, I think we still need to further convince, let's say, the higher legislative bodies and concerned mental bodies.
Okay. Okay. And what kind of regulatory mechanism are there in your country with regards to environmental protection?
Pardon, sir?
What kind of environmental regulations are there? Is there any regulatory body in your country? Like in our country, we have the Pollution Control Board. Suppose in USA, they have the Environment Protection Agency. What kind of regulatory agencies are there in your country to protect environment?
We have the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So they are the ones regulating all the laws concerning our environment pertaining to, let's say, waste or they are actually also regulating the restaurants because of their
Okay.
gaseous emissions. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any question from your side, sir? Aniruddha, sir?
No, I've already
Okay.
expressed my questions.
Okay. I like to request Professor Sudeep Kumar Das if he is having any question to our presenters, then he can ask now. Professor Sudeep Kumar Das, sir, if you are having any question to the presenter, you can ask.
I don't have any question. Okay.
Okay, sir. Orshanendu Mondol, sir, if you are having any question, you can ask the presenters because we are having some time. Else, I will move to the chair summary and photography session.
Thank you for giving me the chance to raise some questions.
Thank you, Anaya, for giving me the opportunity to raise some questions. While I was going through the presentations, of course, some questions came in my mind as the permission is given right now from the chairman side also. So let me ask one question to AmritPritam Rout. Is he there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You talked about, I think, a lot of kitchen wastes are being generated,
yes,
and
sir.
how to handle them in a structured manner so that
Yes,
its
sir.
impacts can be reduced, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is there anything coming in your mind also how to reduce the waste generation from the kitchen? Whether that is also a concern from your side?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for this question, sir. Sir, as we know that kitchen wastes are very much, these are the organic matter which are degraded that by microorganisms. We can use that kitchen waste like a which can be used as composites in garden. That is the that means it can be a organic fertilizer for the plants for their growth. Sir, I can say that kitchen waste can be used as this is the organic matter and can be easily degraded by the microorganisms. we can use as a organic fertilizer in garden.
Okay. I was curious to know some other aspects as such. Can we reduce the waste generation in the kitchen also? There are many procedures to have the foods in the kitchen, right? So what do you
Yes.
suggest from that perspective that waste generation can be reduced in the kitchen itself?
Sir, from the kitchen, like only the vegetables part, or like egg shell and other plastic garbage bags.
Anything. I mean,
Okay, sir.
suppose
Yes,
let
sir.
me give an example.
Yes,
You
sir.
you are purchasing the raw vegetables and
Yes, sir.
preparing them for food in your kitchen, right? This is the procedure what we are seeing and what we are doing.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you think that let these vegetables be available after that preparation in your kitchen,
Yes, sir.
and then you start cooking? Okay, so
Yes, sir.
in that case the waste generation in your kitchen will be reduced or can be avoided. So
Yes, sir.
can you think in that way that
Yes, sir.
from where we will be getting the vegetables, if
Yes.
that particular location takes care of this aspect and
Yes.
go for the prepared vegetables before cooking, then
Yes, sir.
they will be getting lot of waste in their side, and you will get the
Yes.
impact of less waste in your side. So
Yes, yes, sir.
how do you value it, and what is your opinion from
Yes.
that perspective?
Sir, actually, sir, the vegetables which we brought from the market are many times they are not fresh like all. And if we you sir ask the question like that, what we use after cooking, that means the after cooking the vegetables, some are left in our kitchen. What we have to do like that, sir?
Oh, okay. Actually, you just not getting my point, it seems. I said basically purchasing the vegetables
Yes,
as such, the way we are doing right now, or purchasing of
yes,
the prepared vegetables, not after cooking, before cooking, so that the
yes.
generation of waste in your kitchen can be reduced. I was just trying to highlight that. And is it
Like in the
possible or not?
supermarket, like in the
Okay, okay.
supermarket, Amrit, we are
Yes,
getting
ma'am.
the means cleaning and all the things are done, na?
Yes,
Processed
ma'am.
one, not the cooking one, the
Yes,
ready-made
yes.
one.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
Sad is asking.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think you can look into this aspect in case you
Okay,
feel
sure,
like
sir.
it is a good idea. Then
Yes,
you
sir.
can include in your study that
Yes,
we are all aware of the waste generation in kitchen and how
yes,
to
sir.
treat that, so that
Yes,
the impact of solid waste generation and its bad impacts can be reduced. And as you have
yes,
also explained, many of the
yes, sir.
things it is difficult to segregate them, and all many aspects are involved in this.
Yes,
But
sir.
what I was
Yes, sir.
looking for, if we get this
Yes, sir.
aspect done by someone and they
Yes,
are
sir.
preparing maximum quantum of that waste in the location,
Yes,
then both the
yes,
things
sir.
will be resolved in a better way. So that's why
Okay.
I was thinking whether it is possible or not. Just have a
Okay,
look
sir.
into that, and in
Yes, sure,
case
sir.
it is possible, I think you
Yes,
will
sir.
agree and you will include that in your agenda, that we
Yes, sir.
must take this is also a step for future.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Sure, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Uh, I don't know whether time permits or not. If on a stage, then I can ask some other questions, or if the chairman permits.
I think we have enough time now because we
Yes,
can
sir.
continue till 1:30. So
Only we have to take
we have
one
enough
group
time.
photograph and share summary will
Yeah, yeah.
left. So you can ask one or two
Okay.
question more.
It's only 12:40. So
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
You can
Professor
ask who
Mondal,
all.
you can always go ahead with your questions.
Okay, okay. So let me ask one question to Mr. Jeffrey J. Duran. Is he there?
Yes, sir. Present.
Okay. You have, I think you have given very good insights what is going on in your country, and also you have tried to bring certain good aspects of what is there in India also. We must appreciate to focus both the things in your own presentation altogether. So I must congratulate from that perspective. Now, my question is basically, you have also, while our chairman was asking what is going on in Philippines from regulation point of view, you said there is department of environment and natural resources. So they are, yeah, they are taking care of. But if we go into the second part, I mean, the rules are there, regulations are there, but it may not be strictly followed by the people who are involved in this, who are the stakeholders in this. So from that perspective, like, is there any penalty? And even if it is there, is it really be a concern to those who are not obeying these rules, who are violating these rules? So that part, if you can explain, how strict is the following of the regulations?
Thank you for the question. In fair to the regulating body, which is the Department of Department of Environment and Natural Resources, they are actually imposing penalties. So here in Baguio City, in other aspects, let's say aside from the waste, so let's say in the cutting of the trees, or let's say they were found to be throwing unregulated liquid into some body of water, they are actually penalized for that one. In terms of the waste, they are actually very much, what do you call this? Um, Very much into, or they have the strong intention to solve it. However, here in Baguio City, the solid waste generation is actually from time to time skyrocketing. So it's actually the rate of solid waste generation is far beyond the normal. Let's say in festivals, let's say in festivals, in holidays, uh, it actually doubles or triples sometime. So from that standpoint, when the tourists leave, they're actually not penalized anymore. So basically, we have to see to it that even the tourists or even the visitors from other parts must be also held responsible for this particular acts. So I think that's one
Yeah.
part that we are missing.
Yeah, yeah. So that I mean, it is very clear that regulations are there, penalty also is getting imposed. But still, some more action, some more attention is required, so that we are really comfortable that we are getting free from the solid waste problems, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah. Thank
that's
you,
the
thank you, thank you. I think the way you are all explaining, the way you are all giving the insights to the people, it is also a good attempt that people will be definitely getting some idea and will do it. So I must thank you once again for bringing the insights what is going on in Philippines. Thank you. So
Thank you,
can I
sir.
go for any other question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. One Udita Mukherjee, is she there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for
Udita.
giving very good happenings. What is there in Kolkata as far as this
Thank
pollution
you, sir.
and environmental problem from the waste generation. Uh, what is your innovative thought? Whatever you had explained, more or less, we are aware of to certain extents. What you have not explained otherwise also. But even if you have explained or not explained, that is different. But what comes in your mind right now? What is the innovative step which can be taken to address it in future, so that even better pollution control or the solid waste management can be addressed?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for asking me this question. By profession, I am a lecturer of Bashanti Devi College, and by profession, I have a opportunity to communicate with my students, and It's a very common question to ask. How can I manage this solid waste problem, and how can I manage this? But first of all, according to me, sir, first of all, the people have to understand that they are in now. Not in a good situation. If they want to be a good situation, no rules and no regulation can restrict the people or can't solve the problem. uh, till the people will solve themselves that this is a big problem and we have to understand that and we have to overcome that. So the first thing is that the people have to understand by themselves and by its own that the solid waste management is a very big problem, and solid waste is a dangerous and burning issue towards our environment. Sir, this is the way we can arrange some seminars, some workshop, and this kind of conference will a big learning to us, sir, by which we can learn the various processes, the various technologies about the different countries, and this is the very productive session for us, sir. We are not only the teachers, also we are the listeners, we are the students also. So by which according to me, by sessions or by some seminars, we can understand that how we can betterly live a better city life.
No, actually, I was looking something else also. See, as far as the procedures are concerned, the policies are concerned, the government's rules and regulations are concerned, they are almost required to be generalized. Because if any policy is to be brought out in India, it has to be applicable to all the states, all the cities, and all the regions like that.
Yes,
But
sir.
as you are
But
very,
one thing, the people. Huh.
as
Yes,
you are
sir.
very
Please tell.
specific, as you are very specific for Kolkata, I am just looking for what are the deficiencies you still find in the policy, which may be also required to address, so that that can help for Kolkata only. It may not be required for Mumbai, may not be required for Udaipur or something, but for Kolkata it is very much. Is there anything
Sir,
coming?
sir, proper disposal system and proper segregation system, I think it should be very important for the people of Kolkata. And if we concentrate in both of them, we can minimize maximum number of wastes and we can reuse maximum number of waste products.
Okay, in fact, basically, you are again generalizing. I was looking for only very specific, which is required only for Kolkata, not for other locations. What you have said, it is again to be used in all locations. But I was looking for only Kolkata. What comes in your mind?
Sir, people of Kolkata are maximally finding the different kinds of waste in a same category. They cannot recognize it very properly. So the knowledge of waste is very important for the people of us, sir. I think so, but I have a
Okay,
little knowledge about that, so I
okay,
think so.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think
Thank you, sir.
there is no other presenter, I think, available. Okay, so
Okay.
I again thanks Honorary and Chairman for giving me this opportunity to interact in this session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before going to the end of this session, I would like to request all the participants, chair and the professors, please switch on the camera so that we can take a photograph, group photograph. In the meantime, I will make an announcement. Please join at 4:45 using the same link in Hall 3 for research collaboration meeting special session SS8. It will start from 4:45 using the same link in this hall. Now I would like to request the chairpersons Professor Aniruddha Mukherjee and Professor Pradip K. Sikdar, please conclude the session and present the chair summary in 5 minutes. Over to
Okay.
sir.
Professor Sikdar.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I would like to, at the outset, I would like to congratulate all the speakers for presenting their talk very lucidly and have brought out various issues pertaining to solid waste management and have suggested steps for improvement waste management in developing countries. To sum up, it is obvious that population and particularly the development of megacities along with migration and floating population in the city, is making waste management in India a major challenge. The solid waste management rules, the plastic waste management rules, the waste management rules and their amendments have definitely helped to improve the management of municipal solid waste in it. But, and having said that, waste management in India still lacks public participation in terms of sharing the cost involved through paying user fees and sharing some stakes in management processes. It is expected that a sustainable and economically viable waste management model describing the role of community and individual will evolve in the near future. Such a model must ensure maximum resource extraction from waste combined with safe and disposal of solid waste or the residual waste through development of engineered landfill and waste to energy facilities. This will obviously ensure attracting new entrepreneurs in the field of waste management who can profit without any subsidy from the government. I am happy to say that there are several startups moving towards the goal of a landfill-free future in several cities of India. More such startups will come up when the community participation model is adopted instead of isolated effort from municipal participation with government funding without any hope of sustainability. I again thank the speakers for their wonderful deliberation and to the participants for their involvement by asking thoughtful, provoking questions. Thank you very much. I hand over to Professor Mukhopadhyay for his summary.
This was actually a very important session, and the session is recycling and solid waste management. And there were 10 presentations, but today 6 presenters, they presented a nice presentation, and all the presentations were excellent. I congratulate all the presenters for their nice presentation. This is number 1. Now the question is, the solid waste management area has become a buzzword nowadays, and in the field of environment, each and everyone is talking about, solid waste management. As you know, there is an equation that is I equals to P into A. That is, I is environmental impact equals to population into affluence into technological impact. That is, population has something to tell about the generation or the amount of total solid waste. I was going through a demographic data which shows that in the year 1974, suppose the population was about 4 billion, and now in the year 2020, the population is around 7.8 billion, that is 780 crores. So the population has increased by over 350 or 380 crores within a time span of say 46 years. So the population is increasing, and this huge amount of population which is increasing for different reasons, they are coming towards the rural population, they are coming towards the urban cities. New urban centers are actually growing. Now these urban centers are generating huge amount of waste. At the same time, the rural centers, they are also generating huge amount of agricultural wastes. So the amount of waste is growing very rapidly throughout the globe. And in a country like India, where the population is about 137 to 38 crores right now, the total amount of waste is huge. And we have classified the waste like solid waste, liquid waste, all these waste are there. And some of the wastes are, we refer to as hazardous waste, which can be toxic, which can be reactive, which can be corrosive, and which has a property which is known as ignitability. So there are certain rules regarding the management of the hazardous waste. But solid waste is something that has to be managed. But the experts are saying that these wastes are not actually waste. We have to recycle this waste. We have to reuse the waste. We have to reduce the amount of waste. So how can we manage these particular waste materials? How can we manage the, recycle these waste materials? That has to be worked out. In a country like India, and in most of the countries of the globe, there are rules, there are regulations to manage different kinds of wastes, different kinds of pollutants and everything. But there is another thing that's there, that is a public awareness. That is a question of implementation. So these things should be there so that we can actually manage this huge problem. So my last sentence will be that so far as the management of these solid wastes are concerned, we should manage this. We will think about the global question of managing this waste material. We'll try to have more and more scientific and technological studies. But the point is, we have to manage it locally and we have to think it globally. Because unless and until we really manage the solid wastes of our surroundings, of our localities, of our urban bodies, of our panchayats, we won't be able to manage the solid waste in a very holistic way. And at the same time, we have to do our research in the field of science, in the field of technology, in the field of engineering to find out the solutions. Obviously, we can manage this particular waste material. Some of the technologies are known to us, and maybe some of the technologies are still not known to us. And I was going through a definition of waste material, where they are referring, this is very important, they are referring that waste materials for which we do not know the immediate use of those materials. So waste are materials for which no immediate uses are known to us. So we have to know how to use this particular waste material, how to recycle this waste material. So this is a very, very good session. And I think all the 6 presenters were excellent, were very good. They are presented in a very nice way. And at the same time, I want to congratulate the organizers, my co-chair, other participants, and everyone who actually participated in this particular session. And thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to chair for this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before going to the next in this session, I would like to announce for our next technical session. It will start from 2 p.m. using the same link. Now I would like to request Professor Sudip Kumar Dash kindly end this session.
Thank you. Thank you, Anaya. This is the end of our technical session, TS9, Recycling and Solid Waste Management. I am extremely thankful to Professor Mukherjee and Professor Sikdar for excellently conducted this session and chaired the session, and very excellently question and answer session. I am also thankful to all the speakers. 6 speakers presented their views, presented their ideas, presented their knowledge, presented their research in a very important field of waste management. And I also thankful all the volunteers working here. Now, just I have a little announcement that today, 4:45 in this hall, we have an important meeting on the international research collaboration, which will be chaired by the Professor Sadhangi Ghosh. So I request all of you to present at that session. The session will be this hall at 4:45 p.m. today. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
all the professors, all the chairpersons. and all the participants. Next session will start from 2 p.m. using this same link, Hall 3.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.